So we are back with another absolute banger. Agentic automations versus end-to-end automations. And we're going to cover everything you need to know about these two in the coming video. So a lot of people have been speaking about this the last few weeks or the last week, speaking about, oh my God, you need to move everything over to agentic workflows. These things are crazy. Well, they are crazy, but to move your whole stack over to it is complete and utter delusion. It's like giving an LLM, I don't know, making it or asking it to do a Gmail tagging sequence, something so simple that end-to-end or a 3-node workflow can do perfectly. You're getting an agentic workflow to do. So personally, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me, but here we are. I'm going to explain the reasons behind these, why you want to utilize them, how you can utilize them, how you can scale up your agency to multi 6 figures with this process. You can easily do it solo hand with the point we are with AI. And also this AI space is moving so quickly. I'm going to try my best to keep you guys up to date with them all, but it's quite literally impossible because every other week there's something. This Claude bot, personally, I have been loving it. A lot of people have been hating on it. I've seen some YouTubers completely and utterly dog on it, but I think it is incredible and it could just be a massive skill issue on their behalf. So enough of dogging everyone else. Let's get into it. Agentic automations and end-to-end automations, what they are. So if you're here, you would likely know what automations are. But if you do not, they are systems that perform tasks without you having to do them. So it's essentially just automating something away. But let's just think of it like this. Basics, just a Gmail forwarding system. An email, Gmail, email, whatever you want to call it, comes into your account and it is sent from the law firm, the lawyers, okay? Every time you get a lawyer message, you instantly know, bang, trigger that thing and bin it. Get that shit out of my eyes. I don't want to worry about it, okay? That's what you need to think about. But literally, as I said, email comes in, triggers, tags, done. Easy as that. Now, let's get onto end-to-end automations, what these things are. So there's simple steps, logic, branching, etc., etc. And for example, this, don't worry about it, everything you've learned previously. This is notes I'm taking from my school community. So it just goes into a bit more depth. We go into more rundowns, but don't worry about that, okay? Lead capture and enrichment, for example. So for an end-to-end automation, someone will fill out a form, validate their email, research the company, store the information, and fire off the first brand of emails or branch of emails is probably what I meant to say. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. The end-to-end automations are much more linear, but the thing is, they're repetitive and they're very deterministic. And if you don't know by now, AI is not deterministic. You can ask it the exact same question 3 times and you'll get 3 different answers. And for linear workflows, we do not want that. When a form is submitted, we want this exact process to go down. Not a word change, not a full stop change, not an email change, okay? So that's the key benefit with end-to-end, I feel. So let's just get into them. Key benefits, they are visual. It's cheap, it's linear and deterministic, it's reliable, repeatable, and many simple integrations. So that is the key benefit with end-to-end. I'm not the biggest end-to-end lover. I mean, my whole business and essentially livelihood is backed off end-to-end. But the thing is, I hate their UI. Actually, I don't. That was a bit aggressive. But the key benefit of end-to-end is the amount of integrations they have. They make it so easy to quite literally integrate into any businesses, enterprise level, clients, workflow so seamlessly. Okay, so, but the issue is the drawbacks. It struggles with dynamic decision making. Debugging can be annoying. That debugging part, you will always have that whenever you are facing code. It will be the exact same problem when you face agentic automations. Okay, but now let's get on to our beautiful agentic workflows. So they are code-based, built with Claude code. It can reason, adapt, and essentially better themselves. So you may be hearing this and like, oh my gosh, that is freaking crazy, dude. That is quite wild. So the benefit is if you set up the right Claude MD file, which I'll show you, you can get in the community. If you set it up correctly, every time it runs the workflow or the automation, agentic workflow, whatever you want to call it, it will always better itself. So in my Claude MD file, I make sure that every time it finds an error, finds something it can improve on, it goes and adds that. So this Claude MD file is essentially its brain, it's short term, or like it's brain. Every time you log into a Claude code, new chat, that's what it gets hit with, the Claude MD. So every time it goes and operates and it finds an error, finds something it can better, goes and adds that to the Claude code file. So essentially every time it runs, it gets better. You may be thinking that's freaking sick. Why on earth would I use NLM? We'll get into that. So scrape possible leads, analyze job posts, craft message is what it can do. But the thing is, you say, I prefer leads that will make me money. So what does it do? It goes and adapts that workflow for you very easy, very simply. You can do this with NLM, but it will require much more labor intensive work. But the thing is, now with Claude Code, Cinta, and NLM, you can quite literally get Claude Code to create these NLM workflows for you within its agentic workflow. So we'll get into that, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Key benefits: agentic, it can reason, it's flexible, code first. Drawbacks: a bit more expensive, API costs, non-deterministic, so therefore unpredictable. So key differences. So NLM is when X, do Y. I don't know where Y is gone, but Y should be there. Claude Code or agentic workflows is figure out best approach and do it. Okay, so the go-to play, use both. Guys, I'm going to show you very briefly how to make use of both. So it's very simple, very easy, and it's the most go-to strategy. Let me just give you a little overarching picture before we get into it. What you need to do is you go to Claude, you plan out your automation, what you want to do, whether it's for the client, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for outreach, whatever it is. Okay, you go to Claude. Always just go into plan mode. We'll walk through this, don't worry. Go into plan mode and you're like, hey, I want to create this outreach agent that goes and does X, X, and X, analyzes Y, and aggravates Z. Okay. And you go back and forth, and what you come to the conclusion of is the data research or the initial collection of the clients you want to reach out to doesn't need much agentic or autonomy behind it. All that needs to do is needs to go scrape Apollo, and it needs to take that information and store it to a Google Sheet. Why would you want Claude Code to do that? So what we do is we go to Claude Code and we say, hey, I know we can do that in NLM. How about you make use of the Cinta MCP to use it? Let me just break down Cinta. Cinta allows you to go and essentially take plain English and create production ready NLM workflows from it. It goes onto your instance, it creates it for you, it debugs it for you, it checks it for you, everything to the point that you quite literally from 3 sentences in 10 minutes have 100% complete workflow, or 95 to 100% complete workflow. Okay, so that's a key benefit. There you are. You've got your linear workflows out of the way, just like so. From there, what do? You go to Claude and you say, okay, this is pretty cool. We've got all our information. Now we want to figure out the best way to outreach to these people. How would we do that? Now you can get Claude to do the rest. Or what you can do is you can even create another NLM automation that will go and research the client. But another thing is you can go and use Claude to do that. You can say, hey, Claude, how about you go and use the LinkedIn API or Appify LinkedIn API to go and search this client, find some information on him, and then create a personalized outreach message for said client. Okay. Easy as that. Why would you want to do all of those things with just Claude Code? Why would you want to go and scrape with Claude Code? Why would you want to go and outreach with it? Like, I understand the outreach, but why on earth would you want to do the research first? The research is so simple and linear. So that's just my thing. And also it'll be so much cheaper and so much more deterministic when you do it with NLM. It'll be the exact same thing with different data, but it'll be the exact same format, the great information that you need, and so on and so forth. So how to build it? I think I just outlined that. I think I just jumped ahead. Set up Claude Code, plan, connect Cinta, Claude generates and validates, debug your workflow. It's as easy as that. So it really is that simple. There's going to be a video coming after this outlining exactly how to do it. I don't know if it's going to be right after this video or when it's going to be launched, but it probably will be like right now. So if you enjoyed this episode, if you're a bit confused, if you're having issues with anything, drop it below and I'll get straight onto it. So just a little breakdown. Everything was taken from the course or the school community. If you want in much more detail and essentially the whole walkthrough live, it's in the course. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.